Very good. It's 1:30, so we will begin our liquor control agenda for today. We have a few items on the agenda. Number one is to approve the minutes of the May 21st, 2025 regular meeting. We have the minutes in front of us. If you have, anybody has any changes or corrections, otherwise we'll accept a motion.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other changes or corrections? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number two, review liquor applications. Application for a Class W wine license from Hera Nail Bar to be located at 2701 Uptown Way. Steve Sprague to get us started. Steve.
Thank you, Commissioner, and welcome board members. I appreciate your attendance on this beautiful day. So Hera Nail Bar is going to be a salon. They are requesting the ability to serve wine to their patrons. They have set up their salon in a way that would allow them to have minors in one side and have the alcohol consumed in a place where the minors aren't allowed. The W does not require any food sales. It does allow them to have a physical bar. They're not planning on putting up a bar, but just having that service to their patrons. Gone through the background check. There were no issues noted from the police department, and it does come with a recommendation of approval.
Very good. Do we have any comments or questions for Steve or the applicant? Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, the third or fourth one of these we've had, maybe in the last 6-9 months or whatever. I've opposed them before, so maybe the cat's out of the bag and they can't be stopped. But I disagree with, wine licenses for these type of customers. I don't think we've put a lot of thought into it too. We were just saying, well, it's going to be a small thing, so why worry about it? It came up at the last meeting, will they have compliance checks there? And everybody kind of laughed. Well, does the officer have to go in and get a haircut before he sees if they're complying or whatever? So it's like they're not going to be under the same rules as everybody else is the overlay for that. There's been no talk about what the health department says. Where are they going to clean and sanitize glasses? There's been no talk about our employees going to be allowed to consume alcohol. And this just doesn't feel right for me. I know everybody likes to go to Mexico where you have a spa and you can have margaritas and stuff, but I don't think this is Mexico. I think we're putting people out on the street. And the final thing that to me is the worst problem with this is not going to be a revenue creator for these businesses. This is going to be a free add-on, if it isn't already. And as the other nail salons find out what's going on, this is their promotion. Come here, get a free glass of wine, maybe two if we like you. There's no revenue there. There's no sales tax, etc. It's just devaluing what a price of a glass of wine is worth in this town. I think it's unfair, even though it's going to be a small amount of wine. I get that, but I still think it's unfair to on-premise owners of bars and restaurants in this town. And my last point, and I'm not trying to be smart here, but what would happen if a guy that owns a parts store came in here and asked for a beer and wine license? And then because he wants to get an E-permit, and every Super Bowl he wants to give away free beer and wine in his parts store for his customers. So it becomes, where does this all end? Is Moorhead or the hair salons over there going to say, well, geez, we got to one-up Fargo now. We're going to start giving away free gummies over here. So I'm going to vote no against it. I know it's not perceived as a big problem, but to me, it's outside of the direction and the rules we've passed in the past.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Anybody else want to comment? Otherwise, are we ready for a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Since there was no second, I'll revoke my chairmanship and temporarily step down from that and I'll make the second? If that's correct, Steve, is that okay?
Yes, you can give up the chair and make the second. Then we don't have a method you set up with this committee for somebody else to accept the chair and take over. So I'm not sure, Nancy, what we do here.
Yeah, I was going to go, I don't know that it's necessary for you to give up your chair to make the second.
Okay.
I don't have my rules right in front of me, but it's on Robert's rules. You still can vote on the motion.
So if you don't mind me asking, Nancy, so it might be that I would have to give up the chair to make the original motion, but not to make the second. Does that sound correct?
That is how we've addressed it from the Board of City Commissioners, yes.
Okay, so if that's okay with everybody, that's what I'll do. I'll just make the second and not give up the chair. So that was your opportunity to take over, take control, and lead this down a completely different path, so.
Can I make one comment?
No, absolutely. Anybody else can comment too. I apologize for that. Go ahead.
No, I just want to, I appreciate Bob's comments because I remember we had a few of these that were kind of like a one-off, but it does seem to be something that is definitely growing. I don't know if we could say, why we would allow this one when we have allowed similar ones in the past, but I don't think it's something that we should not look at also in the future if it continues to grow like it is, for every one of these different businesses to have a license. So that would be my comment, that I would support it, being the fact that that's been the general norm that we've done in the past.
Very good. Any other comments or questions? Are we ready for we have the motion in a second, so we're ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No,
So it's tied 2-2. And so tell me how we proceed from there, Steve.
It will go to the city commission. I'll reflect the 2-2 vote, and then let the city commission make a final decision.
Okay, very good. Very good. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the application for a Class C beer license for Lil Jimmy's to be located at 2603 Kirsten Lane South. Steve?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. So maybe just to refresh everybody where Kirsten Lane is, it's basically on the corner of 25th Street and 32nd Avenue South, down in that area, kind of in a strip mall area. The applicant just wants to have a place where people can relax and chill. Some of those comments were made in his application. There were 4 items that showed up, but all of them quite old, 2013 or before. So the police report does come with a recommendation of approval.
Very good. Do we have any comments or questions? And obviously there was, like you said, 4 different issues on his history. The most recent was 2013, so it was quite a while ago, and they were all misdemeanors. So I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. Otherwise, if we're ready to make a motion, is anybody willing to make the motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, the next item is 3, the Police Department monthly report, the general report with Chief Zapolsky.
Good afternoon, everyone. Not much to speak of here this month. A bit of irony. While we were at an establishment collecting a fake ID, someone walked in to purchase more alcohol using a fake ID, so they were able to take action on that. So unless you have any questions, that's about it for this last month.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
The next up is a request for the to-go cocktails. Steve, can you give us a summary of that?
Yeah, during the pandemic, the Board of City Commissioners used their executive powers, emergency powers, to allow to-go cocktails. So we allowed people, whether it was beer, wine, or mixed drinks. Everything had to be in a sealed container though. So we didn't require people to have an off-sale license to be able to do that. And so we have a request from the Vinyl Taco Group, from Lance Thorson to kind of reinitiate that or reinvigorate that to go cocktails again.
So Steve, just to, and if you want to get up and talk, you sure can, Lance. And while you're going up, that'd be great if you want to use that podium and introduce yourself. But like you said, the main thing was this was when during COVID, most of the restaurants were forced to be closed and bars too. And so that was part of the reason that we were more flexible at that point, wouldn't you say? And we let it expire after that. Can you just talk a little bit about that first?
Yes, I think that was the commission's way to try to help businesses. As you said, in-person dining was not allowed due to state rules. So one of the things that we talked about doing then was to allow people to have the alcohol to go. In case of Vinyl Taco, they could mix up a nice size container, and people could take it home and enjoy it at home. So I guess that's about all I've got as far as this one goes.
Go ahead, introduce yourself. And
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Lance Thorson. I'm with Vinyl Taco and JL Beers. Appreciate the time here, Commissioner and board members. Ever since the pandemic, we've had additional requests for customers to be able to purchase our 32-ounce. They're called a crawler can of our canned margaritas, and at the time we were selling them along with food sales. So you had to buy food in order to take one home, or to purchase some to bring home. And the feedback was great at that time, and we'd just like to see them come back with the rise of the RTD, the ready to drink cocktails at the liquor stores. Brewholla sells a frozen margarita to go. I'm not sure the alcohol that they're using in it, but there's a lot of other cocktails and beverages in the market now. Whether they're hard seltzers, that are vodka and based. So we just like to sell our margaritas that are tequila based, just like we do at JL Beers with our canned beer, our tap beer. So yeah, just ready for any questions you guys would have.
so can I ask you a question? So would you have to have a different license if we did that, if we changed this? That's my first question. And so right now, do you already sell some things that are sealed? And is that permitted now? I guess that's my question.
We don't sell any off sale at Vinyl Taco. We have a FARZ license there, so we do have a food requirement as well. But at JL Beers, yeah, we sell a lot of crawlers with tap beer in them, ready to go.
So can you talk about that, Steve? What would like at the Vinyl Taco, will they have to have a different license?
Well, what we did was we did an add-on license. So not only our JL Beers, there's a couple other businesses. I didn't prepare the list, but a couple other businesses that are selling the growlers or crawlers. And we also have some of the off sales that are selling the tap beer in a growler or crawler type of vessel. The Brewholla one, I did find out about that, and that what they're selling, they maybe are calling it what did you say it was? I'm sorry, it was a
frozen bevy or a slushy or
but they did say it's malt based. So with their state license that they have and their city license, what they're doing is allowed. They have the brewery license that allows them to sell on sale, off sale, self distribute. They can do all those things. So if this was something that the board wanted to pursue, I think what we would do again would be look at, an add-on license. So you'd have to have an FA or an FARZ license, and then we would add a designation with the beer. We're using an M as the add-on in order to be able to do the off-sale part.
So Steve, if you don't mind me asking, do you think it'd be possible we could continue this, look at this a little bit more? I appreciate the request, but if you don't mind, if that's okay, that I think we'd feel a little more comfortable if we could make sure that we follow the existing rules. But I will say that was the original concept for some of this was to help everybody out when they were forced to close. I will say, I don't know if you remember that, but the bars had to close at 10:30. Do you remember that? And I was so proud of myself because I hadn't closed a bar for a long time. And so at 10:30, I was very proud of myself. But, and I don't know if, to me, back in the day, I took a little heat for the COVID thing, but to think that COVID only came out after 10:30, I thought that was pretty good humor. And so, but anyway, if you don't mind, with a group, if we could continue this, and I totally, we do have a little bit of a precedent when JL Beers can sell containers, but the main thing, I think we have to keep integrity with the licenses. That's my main thing. So go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, and I think that we'd like to maybe, just hearing that there may be some interest in this from the board, I think we'd like to take the next step and do a little bit of research, see, is this even allowed in state law? And then where would we potentially make that fit in our local ordinances? So I don't mind at all having a continuance on this.
Can I ask you, so is there a way to, it's a sealed container? Or
Yeah, there's a couple different ways we can do it. So we use crawler cans during the pandemic, and this is what we use at JL Beers. But yeah, basically we fill it and then we have a seamer, so the top is completely sealed until they crack it open.
Okay.
We've also looked at, plastic bottles that have tamper-proof lids on them as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
I do remember during the pandemic when they came and made the request, and I think you brought 3 or 4 different methods of sealing it. One was maybe even just like a baggie almost, but it had a seal, like a heat seal kind of thing on it. So I know that there are ways to do it. Some of them would require more of an investment than others would for the businesses.
Anybody else on the board have any questions or comments on it? Go ahead, Bob.
I do. Nancy, one of the things that we should probably check on, I think the state made the growler thing pretty apparent with the rise of the brew pubs, et cetera. I think when it comes to alcohol or spirits anyway, there's probably all kinds of labeling requirements, what the proof is, et cetera, what the size, it has to be certain sizes that are legal. So yeah, there's some work to do on this to figure out, I think, what it would be illegal if this goes totally across the spectrum with canned margaritas. If it's malt based, that's probably okay in the brew world, but I think to put a margarita with tequila in it in a can and sell it might run into some hurdles the way the laws are right now.
That's good. Any other comments? Okay, so do you have any other comments?
I was just going to say to comment on the alcohol content, at JL Beers, we do write the ABV on the container for the specific beer. And we would comply with any labeling requirements, necessary on this. This would be the only thing going in this container. So the labels would be a standard label with, we have the government warnings and stuff on here already. But yeah, if there's anything else needed for proof or alcohol content, we'd definitely apply that on the label.
Sure.
Okay, so I think we have I appreciate you bringing up the topic. And so do we need a motion to continue it or we'll just continue it?
One
Go
other
ahead,
thing
Bob.
that I was going to bring up is the other thing, there's possible tax issues here too. When you buy in a liquor store a bottle of or margarita with alcohol in it, that product is getting taxed on the volume, not the amount of alcohol. So would that make you liable for a wholesale or a production tax, et cetera? So I think there's going to be a checklist of things we've got to go through
Okay.
as far as taxes, federal, state, and obviously local too, so.
Anything else you need from us, Steve? Or can we just continue? it?
A motion to continue would be great.
Anybody willing to make that motion?
Make that motion.
Do you have a motion? Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Very good. Thank you. Very good. The last item on the agenda is to request to allow limited wine off sale. Steve?
Yeah, very similar, only a little bit different twist here. So I've been talking to Nikki Berglund for quite some time, maybe going on almost 2 years here, about finding a way to allow retailers to have a limited selection off sale with wine. And right now, what Nikki is doing is if somebody wants to take a bottle of wine to go, like if they're at Mungata in Bruhala and they're going up to the hotel, they open the bottle, recork it, put it in a bag, seal the bag, put the receipt on it, so they're following state law, but, it's not a convenient way for the patron, and it's a lot of, kind of working around a law for the business too. So, and I know that there are some other businesses that would find this to be a useful way for them to make a little bit of extra profit that really probably wouldn't hurt the traditional off sales in any manner. And then we also, I got an email yesterday from Dan Herder who supports this, and that's the letter from him that I laid on your desk too up there. So I guess maybe have Nikki comment about what she's thinking, and as she goes up, I will say that the conversations that we've had, it would again be like an add-on license to allow a little bit of off sale. In her memo that is attached, we're calling it a D license, using that designation at least at this point because the D is an off sale license, but it's beer only off sale. We don't have any of them issued, so.
Basically what Steve said, I also just had talked to Dustin a little bit. There are, obviously, I have some skin in the game, both on the retail side and on the restaurant side. So I'm in no way trying to take away from any of the retail liquor stores. But I do feel that we just have a lot of instances where just having a little bit of wine to be able to sell, for us, it would be the wines that we sell in, say, Mungata or wherever you were wanting to have that. It just kind of adds like a little bit of extra for the customer. It's a little bit of extra revenue for us. Honestly, during COVID, having that option was really helpful. For me, would I get that add-on at Luna when I'm next door to my own liquor store? Probably not. But Dustin had voiced some concerns about guardrails, and we had talked with Steve a lot about some of the guardrails could be, one of which was, first of all, we still have the food percentage, so we can't sell that much wine. We have to keep our percentages. We also, most of the time, play on sale pricing. So it's not going to be the most economical way for any customer to get their wine. It would still be more economical in most cases for them to go to a liquor store. It's more of a convenience, and we do it so often. Dan's was a little different, and we have had this happen as well with a catering, where we'll do a catering at, say, a Bruhala. The customer is left with all of, say they've ordered 8 bottles of wine from us and they only go through 3. We then have to open every one of those bottles for them, put it in a bag, staple the bag with the receipt, and then send them on their way. And it's just really clunky, and I just think it would be not that hard to change where it's something we're already doing and it's just a little more appealing to the customer, and it would, very honestly add some retail. I was a little regretful we didn't do it last year when we talked about it, that wine bar, I want to call it Unwind, but it's Uncorked. We were going to ask them if they maybe wanted, I do feel like maybe they could have benefited for something of that nature. And then, I think that's all I had to say.
So Steve, I think we should maybe continue this as well, because I think there's more, that we need more questions and things. But to me, it doesn't seem like it's the most efficient thing when you have to open bottles and then reseal them. And so to me, but the other thing is you have to make sure that we're consistent with the rules. So if that's okay with you, I think, I don't know if everybody else agrees.
One
but
thing, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I forgot
go
to
ahead.
add the one thing that also Dustin and I talked about, which is also in there, is maybe a square footage cap. So, there's going to be people that would maybe want the little bit of an add-on, and then they have a huge footprint that we understand there would need to be like, I don't know what that square footage would look like, but for us, we'd be looking at a cooler or two. For other people, I don't know what that looks like, but just for none of us want that to then turn into a wine off-sale license, which I know is another license people are asking for. Obviously, that would be a lot more costly, and we're not trying to give people that option. So whatever, I don't know what those guardrails would be for sure, but I mean, I think it would definitely be something.
So Steve, if you don't mind, I'd like to have you look at what we would need to do to change that, but also just to compare it to what having a wine license would, what are the differences between the two? Do you know what I mean? If we need to make some changes, what would that look like? And also what would it compare to what we have in existence? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And
so,
just to be clear, for us, it wouldn't be instead of, it would be in addition to if you already have a liquor license, you know, whatever license you have.
no, I follow
Okay.
what you're asking, but we just have to be consistent.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, any other comments or questions? I appreciate the topic, and obviously we want to, you want to do things, because that obviously doesn't make sense to be opening bottles and resealing them, and that something there's something we can do better there. So, any other comments?
Well, the only other, Nicole Henson is here too from Nicole's Pastries. And, she's expanded into that space that was south of her. And with one of the concepts that Nicole has expressed is that they would have like sort of a market there that you could come in and buy some pastas or some different things like that, take home to prepare. And if they could have a limited number of wine bottles there that they could sell off sale, she said that would, kind of complete that meal package that you take home, and that would really be beneficial to them too. So
And
I think there is some support
Okay.
for this.
Seller 264 has a sort of, I mean, something like that already, right? Where they have to have an event, and if they have an event, then they can sell the wine off sale with their license, which I think was a new license also made. Anyway.
So give us a little bit of time, and we'll revisit it. And I want to thank Steve, because he's always gone out of his way to help new ideas. And I know that some of the existing liquor license owners don't always appreciate all the things we do, but you have to be flexible and give new businesses a chance. And so and Steve, you've done an excellent job of trying to keep our existing licenses intact, but also give opportunities to the startup. So thank you for what you've done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I think what really hurts all of us is when we see a business that everybody's excited about and then it doesn't make it, like Nikki said, Uncorked, maybe if they had that off-sale component, they'd still be open. But, it was a really neat place, great to go there, great atmosphere. And next thing you know, it's closed. So, anyway, could I have a motion then to continue?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It's 1:58. That concludes our meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a good afternoon. We are adjourned.